you don't really need to catch them up and give them sort of any forced medication. So it also means that while Vicky's hand feeding them, she can get a good close look at each individual, make sure that everything's okay around their feet, around their beak and their body. And it's also very important that when you're feeding them that you can also have a look inside their mouth, because any discolouring or any growth inside the mouth could be a sign that there's something wrong. And you do get a couple of diseases that show these signs in birds, so we can sort of preempt that very quickly. But feeding usually takes anything up to about an hour and a half, and it is the sort of longest job that you'll have for any of the keepers in the zoo, but it's certainly very rewarding to see the results of it. And then at the end of the day, they might do a scatter feed of some spare sprats, which are the smaller fish that will feed to the rock hoppers, which the Gentoos seem to see as a bit of a delicacy and absolutely love it. So once we know everybody's had a fair share, we'll maybe do a wee bit of an enrichment scatter. But you also notice sort of other behaviours to look for with our penguins is when they get excited after a feed, you'll see them maybe hitting the pool and doing a behaviour called porpoising, which is when they leap out of the water. In fact, one just, right on cue, there you go, some of them doing it on the left hand side. And this is where they gain speed and get a breath as they go. So if they want to do some faster swimming, and also in the wild it's a way of getting rid of predators. As they leap out of the water, they disappear out of view, and it's something they do very regularly because we have a very nice long pool here. It's one of the biggest and best pools for penguins in Europe. But I was just keeping an eye out for Snowflake, which is another individual just to sort of mention. Can't really see him from here, but if you do see a silver-backed penguin, looks a bit different to the rest of them. This is a bit of a one-off. Snowflake is what they call a leucistic phase, which means he hasn't produced the same amount of dark colouring as the rest of the others have. In the wild, of course, because of that colouring, he would have been spotted by a predator and eaten straight away. But here at the zoo, of course, because he's protected, he's got no danger, and he's a bit of a star. He sticks out very, very obviously in comparison to the rest of them, especially in the water. And funnily enough, although Snowflake has had several mates in the past and had several chicks as well, none of his chicks have ever been born with the same colour as him. So he's a complete one-off. So if you happen to spot that one, that's Snowflake for you there. So, but just the last thing to mention, the building at the very far end of the enclosure, the viewing area, is to represent Falklands Conservation. This is a project that Edinburgh Zoo and the Royal Zoo